Hi, and welcome to Math EQ on Sequence Part 2. Question 5. A sequence of patterns is made using lines and dots. The first 3 patterns in the sequence are shown below. Draw pattern 4 on the grid. This is the added pattern in blue on the diagram. Next, complete the table. The table is best completed by counting the number of dots and lines. You could then validate for correctness, for it needs to be some sort of a sequence. In the case of number of dots, it would be adding by 1 in succession, and in the case of lines, you would be adding by 3 in succession. Question 5c. Find an expression in terms of n for the number of dots in pattern n. As the number of dots is just 1 above the pattern number, this is n plus 1. Next, find an expression in terms of n for the number of lines in pattern n. With the sequence being one that adds by 3 in succession, the expression would have the element 3n. Next is to find the offset k for when n equals 1 is equal to 4. Question 11. The diagrams show a sequence of shapes. On the grid, draw diagram 4. This would be the representation in blue. Next, complete the table showing the number of lines in each diagram. These are the numbers 16, 21, and 26. Next, work out the number of lines in diagram 8. We could think of this as 26 plus 3 times 5, which comes to 41. Next, write down an expression in terms of n for the number of lines in diagram n. By doing the math, we should get to it being 5n plus 1. Next, work out the number of lines in diagram 100. By applying n as 100 to the formula available on D, we shall get the answer as 501. Next, the number of lines in diagram P is 66. Find the value of P. In other words, this is saying that when n is P, the formula in D will be equal to 66. This would solve for P to being 13. Question 6a. The grid shows the first 3 diagrams in a sequence. Each diagram is made using identical small squares. Each square has sides that are 1 unit long. On the grid, draw diagram 4. The drawing in blue represents the required diagram 4. Next, complete the table. The required parameter is 28. Next, find an expression in terms of n for the parameter of diagram n. The required expression is 8n minus 4. Next, for one of the diagrams in the sequence, the parameter is 300 units. Work out its diagram number. The required diagram number is n when 8n minus 4 is equal to 300. This works out to n being 38. Next, diagram 3 is drawn on a piece of card. The side of each small square is 7 cm. The diagram is a net of an open box. Calculate the volume of this box and give the units of your answer. With each square being 7 cm, its base is 7 by 7 cm and its height is 14 cm. This takes the volume to 666 cm cubed. Question 6b. These are the first 4 diagrams in a sequence. Each diagram is made from small equilateral triangles. Write down the number of lines of symmetry of diagram 3. It is 3. Next, complete the table. And the table would fill up as follows. Next, find a formula in terms of n for the total number of small triangles T in diagram n. T equals n squared. Next, the formula for the number of white triangles W in diagram n is as stated. Show that this formula gives the correct number of white triangles when n equals 3. When n is 3, the formula has W being equal to 6 as shown on the table. Next, complete this statement for diagram 15. When n is 15, w can be derived from the formula as 120. G lags w by one sequence. Therefore, its count is equivalent to when w is inserted with the value of n equals 14. This comes to G being 105. With t being n squared, t is 15 squared, which comes to 225. Question 11. The sequence of diagrams above is made up of small lines and dots. Complete the table. For its first row, the number would stack up by 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. For its second row, the number would stack up by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next, for the diagram n, find an expression in terms of n for the number of small lines. The numbers on this row seems to be a pairing of a geometric progression and an arithmetic progression that is shown in red. Therefore, the formula is n plus 1 squared plus n minus 1, or when simplified, n times n plus 3. Next, diagram R has 10,300 small lines. Find the value of R. In a way, the question is saying R times R plus 3 is 10,300. And if it remains hard to recognize that R is 100 here, we would apply the knowledge that the root of 10,300 being equal to 101.48, R has to be a number that's smaller than this. So you get on to try the integers from 101 downwards in decrements of 1. Next, the number of dots in diagram n is an squared plus bn plus 1. Find the value of a and b. For the question, we'll need to combine data from the table with that of the expression. Having said that, when n is 1, the expression is equal to 4. And when n is equal to 2, the expression is equal to 8. This forms the first two sets of simultaneous equations. We'll next go on to solve these simultaneous equations to get a being equal to half and b being equal to 5 over 2. Question 12. Marco is making patterns with gray and white circular mats. The patterns form a sequence. Marco makes a table to show some information about the patterns. Complete the table for pattern 5. The first pattern is an addition by 3 in succession. The second is an addition of 4 followed by 5 followed by 6 followed by 7. Next, find an expression in terms of n for the number of gray mats in pattern n. With the pattern adding by plus 3 in succession, the expression will have the element of 3n. When n equals 1, the expression will be adjusted by another plus 3 for it to equate 6. Question 12c. Marco makes a pattern with 24 gray mats. Find the total number of mats in this pattern. By letting n equals to the pattern number and equating the expression with 24, we can solve for n. Knowing that n is 7, the total number of mats can be calculated as 28 plus 8 plus 9. Next, Marco needs a total of 6 mats to make the first pattern. He needs a total of 16 mats to make the first two patterns. He needs a total of the given expression to make the first n patterns. Find the value of a and the value of b. The solutions can be obtained by putting n equals 1 into the expression and equating that to 6. Also putting n equals 2 into the expression and equating them to 16 to form two simultaneous equations. That's all for this segment. Do get into our other videos under KT Tutorial channel if you've liked this.